What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid-techno. We're going to listen to a tune by the one and only Geezer, Guy the Gaffer. We're going to listen to a remix he did actually of a Sterling Moss tune. RebelTek is Sterling Moss's label, and as you'll notice, I'm a big fan of this record. I got 2 copies. It's funny, this is one of the records where, you know, you occasionally find yourself in sort of debates on Discogs. You know, usually very friendly and, you know, just sort of like similar-minded and similar interested techno and acid fans just taking a different take on the same tune. And it's, I don't know if I mentioned this in any videos on this channel. I know I did when I first started reviews on my other channel, but there's a number of people on Discogs who, over the years, you see them commenting on tunes that you are inclined to comment on yourself. There's a few people where, like, we agree about so many different tunes, and then another tune will come along that to my mind is very similar, I love it, and this other person will be like, no, I think that's terrible, you know, it's whatever. So it's really interesting that there's, you know, 3 or 4 people that over the years I've commented on a number of similar releases, and, you know, it's different in each case which tunes we have, like, different takes on, but again, it'll be like 95% of tracks were like, oh yeah, you know, it's that acid-techno sound I love, and then there'll be a tune where they are all about it, and I'll hear it and be like, I don't know, to me it's a different vibe, maybe not as good. So it is funny how that happens. But this release is another one that had sort of mixed opinion, and there were some people who didn't like the vocals, and I was saying, like, number one, I think the vocals are different. You know, the Sterling Moss original, it's like, you know, hit me with your acid box, and it's like sort of like a cheeky, sort of personified take on the acid box, and sort of, you know, using it like a weapon, and so on. Whereas Geezer takes the idea of the sample, hit me with your acid box, and kind of turns it into sort of like a gutter punk sort of like statement of purpose, and that it's, you know, drugs and sex and drugs and rock and roll is all my brain and body needs, is sort of the main refrain of Geezer's version, which I think it, you know, it gives it a bit more of an edge. I do think the sample works better than the original, and to be clear, I do like the original track. I think I liked it more when I first got the record, where I was like, yeah, you know, Geezer's tunes will almost always be my favorite on any given record. I mentioned it before, there's a number of producers of acid-techno, both, you know, going back to the earliest days, and a number of others who've, you know, begun producing more recently. But of all those people I would put in an elite category, Geezer tends to be like the first among equals for me. I just really love his style, whether you're talking as Geezer or as Jaw Scoop. But yeah, bottom line, when I got this record, I was sort of like, you know, Geezer might be 1A, but the Sterling mix is 1B. I still do like it, but I think it's kind of slipped down into the B like category for me, so it is sort of the B side, even though it's technically the A side on the record. But yeah, bottom line, the Geezer mix is the one for me, so on Discogs I made the point that, hey man, like, I'll gladly stand alone on this one. I think it's a great record, and in particular, I think the Geezer version is just lights out awesome. And, you know, as I, you know, made the point on in reply to the other person who didn't really draw a distinction between the vocals on the 2 versions, I was like, at the very least, I think it should be noted that, you know, it's a slightly different articulation of the idea of hit me with your acid box. So anyway, enough talking, let's get to it. This is the Geezer remix of Sterling Moss's tune Hit Me With Your Acid Box from RebelTek 2. Now the question of the year is a different matter. So let me look that up while we get started. But yes, this is the Geezer remix, Hit Me With Your Acid Box by Sterling Moss on RebelTek. I'm going to guess like 2013 before I actually look it up. Oh. And the answer is 2015. I would have been wrong. But yeah, early 2015 this came out. Weird how years that seemed like not so far back, it's, you know, it's the better part of a decade now, or, you know, almost pushing 8 years since this came out. I'd like to draw attention to the colossal Geezer kick drum.
Hit me hard, hit me good. Hit me the way you know it should. Hey, hey.
Number one, I love the vocals in Geezer's version. Number two, I love secondary intros. I mentioned it before. A lot of tunes, whether it has a quick breakdown like that or not, or whether it just like it's very minimal and then it has a quick flash of a sample and boom, in comes the acid bass line. Yeah, I love tunes with a good, like, real energetic, energy-raising secondary intro, like we just heard. And third, this tune is another one that I think among Geezer's tracks fits into like what he sometimes does, where it's like it sounds like like acid-techno gutter punk, like it feels kind of like a muckraking acid-techno tune. Acid intensification. This one actually has a tertiary intro, which some tracks do. Not all, but because now it's gonna like reconfigure it and get a little more serious. I don't know, like the way my brain sees it, it's like it's kind of like flaring up and having it, and then here it gets a little more like resolute and like focused, determined. And I love that kind of like buzz, like aftershock of the acid. Again, it's like an acid punk rock guitar riff. Listen to it chirping away. What's that, Geezer? If you go to my list of DJ Shnootz party mixes, which there's only 3 in there, but the one for Acid Rain, which was a 2015 party, not too far from where I live. You know, a lot of parties around here are up in LA, but it was actually in Orange County. Anyway, I think this is the second tune in the mix, maybe the third. I think it's the second one. No, it is the third. I think it's the third. Either way, if you want to hear it in a live setting, check that out. It's like, okay, so we already like went up 1 level, right? We're gonna go level 3, which brings the vocal back. Really bubbling hot. So wait till we get to level 4. Explosion about to happen. 4-beat throw over. I heard this tune like 100, 200 times. Legendary. Listen to the acid lightning. And then back to that kind of like low gutter punk sort of vibe. this linger over your incoming tune, no doubt. Try to remember what I mix into from this. I think I mixed into Croydon Girl. I think Chris Liberator, Sterling Moss with Racket. I think I mixed into Croydon Girl. Yeah, I know I do now that I think about it, because I do a couple like beat throwovers, like, you know, I was suggesting just now. Yeah, and I remember it was that tune, because that tune has a really heavy kick, and I remember when I threw it over, a couple people in the audience were like, oh shit. But yeah, so like I said, I think it's a phenomenal tune. I guess I can understand some people thinking that, like, you know, acid-techno with more vocal samples is more gimmicky. I sort of used to think that way, but if you've been following any of my acid reactions, like, you know, since I started doing these on my old channel, certainly, but even, you know, a number on my new channel, you'll know that I am quite fond of, like, a well-placed and well sung vocal in the right place, and, you know, not just sung vocals, but also, you know, like, kind of like hip-hop style vocals or whatever. Like, it just, my tolerance and even enjoyment of vocal techno, including vocal acid techno, has grown. And again, if the sample is like Geezer himself, you know, shouting out about like sex and drugs and rock and roll is all my brain and body needs, hit me with your acid box, like, I don't know how you can't be down with that. So yeah, basically, as I wrote on Discogs, I think it's a fun, awesome tune. It's like muckraking, but also kind of having it, like, you know, it's got the dirty, but also kind of the bright and just fun. So yeah, for me, it's a total winner. As I said, the tune on the flip side, by the original by Sterling, it's a cool track. I liked it like very much when I first got it. It has like subsided a little bit, but I still give it like a solid B+. You know, I think it's a good tune. I just don't know if it's a great tune like I thought it was when I got it, which is no knock on Sterling. Anyone who's followed this channel will know that I love his tunes, and in particular, I often talk about the tunes that he's made with Chris over the last decade or so. It's like they've been one of the most dynamic duos making like hard driving acid techno. So yeah, like I said, it's not my favorite by Sterling. I do still give it like a passing grade, you know, like a B grade. But if I'm gonna play one tune on this record, it's almost always gonna be the Geezer one. I just think it's a fantastic muck-raking, yet also sort of like fun and having an acid track. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have this record or any of the others on the RebelTek label. I think I have them all. I know I reacted to it on this channel because it wasn't that long ago. It was maybe like a month ago. But you know, they keep releasing really cool tracks, including, you know, by artists with a long heritage in the scene. One of the guys from Lab 4 has been making tunes again, and he made a tune, I think, with Sterling called New Eon, and that's just an unbelievable track. Check that out if you haven't heard it just overall, and also I did react to it, so check that out if you're interested. But yeah, either way, let me know what you think of this one. Let me know what you think of this one. Let me enunciate better. But yeah, other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.